In this video I'm going to look at using Condor to simulate excuse me, Aerotow rope brake failures, low ones, where it's not safe to turn back to the airfield. There have been many accidents when pilots have attempted that, and obviously to practice this for real it's going to involve a land out, which is very inconvenient. So it can be practiced in a motor glider or on Condor, as I'm going to demonstrate. And I'm starting going through the Condor setup because obviously this is specific to each airfield. So I'm at Portmoak. I've set this up with an east wind and about 12 knots. I'm using a K21 and I'm using Aerotow. And one of my top tips for aerotowing in Condor is I think the default rope length is quite short. Increase the rope length and it just makes life a bit easier. And I'll just save that to show how easy that is. And now I can just reload all of these settings anytime that I want to. So I'll start the flight now. I've chosen to use an east wind at Portmoak because one of the small drawbacks with Condor is that you can't make the tug pilot use the route that our tug pilots actually do. And in the other wind direction, our tug pilots will always avoid flying straight out over the loch, whereas Condor doesn't. So I'm going the other way where there are plenty of fields. It's still not going the way that our tug pilots would, but close enough. One of the other interesting things about Condor is you don't get to choose your tug. You get whatever happens to be available. So let's see what we get now. I'll just pause for a moment to explain what I'm going to do. We're going to set off on Aerotow. The other top tip for flying in Condor, or indeed a real Aerotow, is to make sure you're properly in trim. So I'm just going to adjust that in a moment. And I'm going to pause just before we actually have the rope brake failure so that we can look at the terrain. So we're off the ground and we're at about 150 feet, near enough. We're just getting towards the end of our airfield. I wish we did actually have a hangar that looked like that. And this is a fairly good representation of the fields surrounding us. We've got plenty of options straight ahead. We're too low to turn back safely if the rope breaks here. We've got a reasonable headwind, and so I'm going to unpause, and in a moment the rope's going to break and I'm going to be in one of those fields straight ahead. Right, rope's broken. Checking my airspeed. That looks good. And now pulling the brakes and landing in this field that I can check out in advance because it's just across the road. We can use drones as well to show this flight path, and then people can come and practice it on a simulator like this. And we could do several variations. You can probably imagine the sort of thing. We could do it at different heights, and we could see at what height it might be safe to return to the airfield. And combining this with looking at the fields physically and using drone footage possibly, you can get some really good training material out. So recommend it.